Welcome back, everybody. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Aaron.
This is our show, Crypto Cosm, where I talk about how astrology affects the crypto world.
And I bring you more of that sweet, sweet worldly crypto news.
Crypto news?
Crypto news.
Now we're going to do something we haven't talked about on the show. The Donald.
The Donald. The wave. The wave. Now, politics aside, good, bad, we're coming at this from...
Honest.
We're from a pro-crypto approach, let's just say. So, the Donald, a.k.a. Donald Trump, we'll reverse that, whatever, has been on the rise with his tariff war. Well, you're going to tax us on our goods $20 million. We're going to tax you $200 million. And it's just been this back and forth battle. And we're seeing these tables just constantly turn. They're arguing like ladies, and they just can't seem to get along. But what is coming out of this? Now, earlier in the year, and we did this on one of our shows, but we had Russia make its first deal with Turkey for goods. Now, it was 3,000 metric tons of wheat that was purchased with the use of Bitcoin by Turkey. It kind of makes me tear up a little bit. I get
global adoption.
I get so excited on a geopolitical level. Now we've talked
Trading. It's like truly trading. You know. All right, go on.
On such a grand scale. I mean, we think about institutional money, and that's one major slice of pie that we're carving out and creating architecture and infrastructure for to make way. But now we're starting to see geopolitical cash money being dumped into the system. Ooh. Now, on top of this, I've done a little bit of homework in this area, and there's a couple countries, particularly because it's the most that I found out about, is Iran and Russia, now discussing the use of cryptocurrency to bypass the US dollar and the international SWIFT system.
So they want to bypass the US dollar.
Right around.
So they're literally, what they're doing is literally taking it to the step where we all want it to be already.
They're giving it to us. They're giving it to us. They're handing it to us on a silver platter, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening.
That's great news.
Now, the international SWIFT system, let's see if I get this right. Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecoms.
Nailed it.
Say that 3 times fast. I'm not going to try it, but you can try it and let me know how that goes. Leave a comment.
We trust you will.
Now, this was formed because they needed an intermediary in between all these countries to trust that the money would be transacted. Well, now we have smart contracts that do that.
Yep.
And we have cryptocurrencies, and we can send these large, massive payments from one country to another, from person to person. This is what it's for. It cannot be controlled, it cannot be seized, it cannot be taken over, and look what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. That's huge.
Country to country, across the globe.
I feel the love. I feel the love. So, I mean, there's a lot of turmoil going on in a lot of different corners of the world. There is. People are going to fight, and these are going to be some of the outcomes of that. And it's interesting to see how one might think of, oh no, well, this is going to go up and this is going to go up because of all these tariffs, not thinking that when, one door might be closing, another one is opening up right behind it.
Absolutely.
And that's a beautiful thing to think about. Beautiful thing. So I can't wait to see. That's going to be one of the topics of my research moving forward. That's a huge slice of the pie.
I mean, first it was Bitcoin pizza. This trumps that. It's a play on words there.
You see what he did there?
But but no, really though, like this is the next level, like to like a 10th degree. This one goes to 11. It's like
it's up there. So it's going to be one of the topics of research that I continue to pursue. We always try to stay up to the most relevant worldly news. I mean, this is not like, oh, we are just Bitcoin people. We hate Bitcoin. It's not like that. It's crypto as a whole. It's under the whole entire umbrella.
The Cosm.
And we want it to succeed because it connects and unites and empowers the individuals. Me, him, you, all of you, and you.
In the back?
Yep,
We
that's
see
right.
you there, Terry.
Yep.
What's up, bro?
Ah!
All right.
So it's going to be one of the things on our radar, and as more of this type of news comes out that really is paving the way for the global adoption, we're going to try and keep you guys posted as much as humanly possible.
So, what else have we got going on?
Well, another article that I rolled over today was Ethereum. Ethereum. Nothing like a good old classic. And in this case, we're not talking about Ethereum Classic. That didn't go too well because, yeah.
You get it.
So Ethereum has released some dates for Casper and sharding. So let me break a couple of those down because I know some of the terminology gets a little techie,
right?
A little hard to follow.
Think of something way different when we talk about sharding.
And Casper. We're not talking about the little friendly white ghost. So let's start out with Casper.
No, all right.
So Casper is a protocol set up for proof of stake.
Proof of stake. Now, what does that mean? Proof of stake.
I'm so glad you asked. Proof of stake. So we have everybody's aware of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Now Bitcoin is proof of work. Just proof of work. In this case, we have machines, a decentralized network system of machines out there verifying transactions. Okay? Mm-hmm. In a proof of stake concept, we have individuals holding their wallets open, backing transactions with their own money.
I like that. I like how you put that.
Okay, so you're sitting there, and basically, if you would like to set up a proof of stake wallet,
yes,
what you do is that coin typically has a special wallet, so it normally wouldn't be in combination with like a Jax wallet or a generic wallet with 100 coins. So typically, these coins have a special wallet that enables that feature. So you put in, let's say, $1,000 or 1,000 coins. Some of them might have a minute. Some of them might have a limit.
Okay.
So you might need 5,000 coins, let's just say. Well, those 5,000 coins get locked in for 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. And for that 6 months, you might get a 10% return on your coins.
Okay.
So similar to the mining process where you're using machines and the machines are getting paid, here the wallets that back these transactions get paid.
But it's a 6 month system. You have to keep it in for 6 months?
It might be 6 months, it might be a year, depending on how that cryptocurrency in specific is chose to set up. Now there's no release details on how exactly it's going to formulate and function. I mean, there's a pretty general stance. If you want to take a look at some of the other coins, it's going to be an average right around somewhere in the middle. It might be 1,000 coins minimum. You have to wait a period of time. You're looking at a 10 to 15% return because you're staking your money. So if a transaction goes sour, there is a possibility that your coins can get burned or replace that, but you get incentivized by getting new coins when they come out.
And now this isn't the same kind of taxing isn't the right word, but power-hungry source like mining, is it?
That's absolutely right. Because, so there's a couple things. Now, proof of stake, yes, 100% absolutely gets us away from the power-hungry resources of using those machines to make cryptocurrency a reality.
Right.
What it also does, I think, built on top of a proof of work system, so you have the benefit of both. Now, you run into an issue in cryptocurrency where if you have more than 51% of the computers out there on the network are owned by one group, they can take over the network.
Yeah, 51%. I mean, that's
51% attack. So
business, yeah.
Adding a proof of stake model on top of a proof of work model gets so many more individuals, and the percentage of a 51% attack lowers it down greatly. Now we've tried and tested. Basically, you can't start. You really shouldn't start off a coin with just proof of stake only, because you could have somebody come in and buy all the coins when they're super cheap. I throw down $1 billion. Boom, you could take over their network in a heartbeat. So typically, we see this proof of work model get pushed out first, and then stabilized or enhanced with this proof of stake on top of it, which makes it that much more secure, that much more versatile, and more incentives for people like you and me and Bobby back there in the stands. So it's fantastic, but we don't have release dates for Casper until possibly later on in 2019. They said there's going to be 2 release dates, mid to end of 2019.
And the latter of the two, sharding, they're stating that it's not going to come out until 2020.
20.
But we already have other companies that already have it, that are offering it.
There are a few.
That's hard. That's hard. It's just like, oh, we love Nike, and we can't wait for Nike's new thing.
But Adidas has already got
They've
it.
already got it. It's like, oh, the new
Puma over
Hexo
here.
technology,
Now, I'm glad that they released both of those dates together. Because having proof of work, having proof of stake, and having sharding is going to increase things tenfold across the board. So in my mind, the feeling that I get is Ethereum is going to come up. I mean, Ethereum, there's so many developers out there now. It's one of the first. There's a huge community around Ethereum. And I can see something like Ethereum coming to turn into like the Walmart. I mean, Walmart's global. Walmart has a little piece of everything.
Right.
And I can kind of see that maybe happening with Ethereum, where they're just going to, they may not be the best, but they're going to add on this piece and add on that piece and add on. They're going to be consistent players, I think, throughout the board. And I think that's going to make them strong, the whole way through. Kind of like a tortoise wins the race.
Well, it's like they've got, a wider spread. It's just diversified. They're diversified.
They are.
They're so very diversified, and let's be honest, their head is a genius. Like the guys are great. I would love to just sit down and have a conversation with them.
Buterin, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people would, but would a lot of people be able to have a conversation with him?
I'm sure he would lose me. I mean, he's up there. I've seen a couple of his conferences, and
he's a genius mind of this this century, and it's great.
My hat's off.
Right, and what he's doing, great stuff. Now, when you say Walmart, it's a really interesting thing. Is like, we're Metro Detroit, Henry Ford, one of the greatest leaders of period in the 21st century, is he created the $5 a day job here in Detroit, which was about equivalent to $20 an hour to today's time.
Sure.
Back then. Now, he was the highest, jumping off here, but this is all relevant, comes back around. So he was the highest employer at the time, right? Walmart now is the highest employer in America, paying minimum wage. So where Ford raised the bar and created the $5 a day job, because he was, out of everybody making $5, he's making $30 on that guy. So, he's making money, and it created this factory system, and now Walmart's taking it, but instead of giving incentives and really, I mean, they're cheap
corners.
prices. They're cheap prices, no question about it. If you're on a budget, go. But it's like, it's like Uber. We've even talked about Uber on the show before. It's like, oh, it's super cheap, but at the same time, like, what's happening to the employees? It's 62 cents when the government gives you 59 cents a mile. Again, I'm not trying to detour too much, but that concept of like comparing what this company is an interesting aspect. And like what, we already know right now, Bitcoin is the platinum. It's above gold. Gold is
king, baby.
Right.
King.
It is the king. And what's the next one down is Bitcoin Cash still. And then Ethereum. But Ethereum right now has the more pull of what's going on as far as like user database. Like, I don't know, that's not proper terminology, but you know what I mean? Like, there's more people in the pot got their hands in here and are working with it than are just like holding on to
more
it
decentralized,
to get money.
And that's interesting that you say that, going just back to Walmart, touching base on it, like spreading your resources between Casper and between sharding, you know what I'm saying, is maybe they're not going to have a deep specialty in a lot of these areas or optimized in any of these areas, but they're going to have these areas. So there's pros and cons to the methods that they're approaching, and of course that's going to be determined by the actual community. So it's not just Buterin that's running these systems.
Sure.
It's a community people. I mean, it's the developers. It's all the individuals. I mean, you can go to GitHub today and check out who is actually building the pieces of the system that we're using, which is really interesting.
Super cool. Right.
It really is. So, and I didn't break down sharding. So sharding, for those of you who may or may not know, is a system setup where it's basically taking this, let's just say it was one giant circle, and it was all
circle.
operating within this one circle. It's about setting up and breaking this circle into many circles. Now, while you're operating within these many circles, say each circle could be, just for reference, it could be maybe a city, let's just say.
Okay,
And if you're
this
operating,
circle is the city.
So we have all these different circles now because we've sharded. I couldn't help myself.
It's terrible. It's
And-
an awful word, man.
So
it just is.
if you're interacting and making a transaction within your own circle or city, that transaction is going to happen lightning fast. But you're going to get the same type of system that they have maybe currently if you're going outside to another circle or city. That is the concept of sharding. Sharding with a D.
With a D.
With a D. So just breaking that down for you. But we're not looking at till like 2020, like Aaron said. It's going to be a while. And there's
Which,
already
if you've
players.
been following us too, 2020 is a big year. Astrology
wait.
land. I mean, that's seriously the mecca, you guys. This is all about 2020. And then after that, we got a couple years until 24, 25. That's some more big stuff. But that's like next phases. But 2020, we're a year and a half away. Groundbreaking stuff. And it's kind of interesting that that's happening then. Now, these other companies already have it out now, but it's like, you know, how will it develop between the next year and a half? Is there something that they're going to be doing that's different from what's here now? You know what I mean? Like, there's 18 months is a long time to, I mean, that's in the quick thing, you know, that's if they get it out, top of 2020, you know, 18 months, but
And
We'll
and this sharding concept is definitely a third, what they would call in the community company, a third generation crypto.
right. It's gonna come, it's gonna really sprout later on. We're just planting it and watering it right now.
This is brand new, guys. I mean, it's such in its early stages. Like Zilliqa was the first one to get their testnet out with sharding, and their mainnet doesn't even go live till September. So we're running at like 8.3 cents right now. We were at 27 cents earlier in the year with Zilliqa, and this was on the way down from the big crypto spike where Bitcoin hit 20,000. Zilliqa's been doing nothing but really stay up there. It's done a fantastic job in terms of, you know, keeping its growth that it's
Right.
maintained throughout the year. It really has. I've personally, it's one of my most stable cryptocurrencies after January.
And on the message boards, it's one that's talked about a lot.
It is.
You know, a lot of the, you know, some of the noobs will come on and say, "Hey guys, what's something good?" And it never fails. Zilliqa, it's up there. You know,
It's really just revving up the engine. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in September when their mainnet is released, and it's got a lot of contenders out there like Tron and EOS. I mean, there's just a lot of big players that are really breaking off of the iceberg and now growing on their own. So it's really a fantastic year.
And another third generation company, one that I really like a lot, that's doing something so very different. We've talked about it a million times in the show, IOTA. They've got some great things up their sleeves right now. Just shed some light on that, man. I mean,
They do. So this one just, when I was looking through, doing my daily research, this one just jumped off the page and hit me right in the face. And I was excited that it did. So IOTA, Internet of Things, is partnering with City Exchange Consortium,
And
in Europe with 25 countries in Europe. They have pulled together $30 million to start running test pilots for smart cities. So on one hand, we got Trump creating this geopolitical trade where we have money from this political avenue now being dumped into cryptocurrency. Now we're talking about money that's going to be running smart cities.
right, we have smart
cities.
houses now that are just coming up. You know, it's like your phone, you can control your thermostat in your house. Like, oh, we're actually going to be gone a little longer than we thought. We don't need to kick the heat on right now or the AC on right now. We're out. Or, you know, my buddy just installed these locks in his doors. He can literally, he just pulls to his driveway, bloop, bloop, door unlocks and opens for him. AC turns, whatever, like his whole house, lights turn on, everything with his smartphone.
The blinds
It's
will
so
open
cool.
when you ask them to. The blinds will open and close on a,
We're
on
talking
a
that's
schedule.
smart house, we're talking smart cities.
Smart cities.
Bigger.
So the idea behind these cities, I mean, we've already gotten to the point where we create, or we consume more than we create. Everybody worldwide, except for, you know, countries that don't have electricity, obviously, but we consume more than we create. We don't have the infrastructure to track it. We don't have the infrastructure to see where it all goes. all of this data collection has to go somewhere, and it can't be tampered with. What solutions do we have available now that blockchain is out there? Well, of course, I mean, it is blockchain. I mean, once it's in the database, it cannot be messed with or tampered with, and it's going to be safe enough to where our cities are running on these. Our cities. I'm talking just hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions.
And what, they just partnered also with IBM, and Australia is another company that they're, or another country. I said company, a country that they're working with. Correct?
They are working with. That's another topic. So since you brought it up, let's discuss it right now. We have XLM Stellar. XLM Stellar. All right. IBM and the Australian government setting up now for e-governments. So we have smart cities, geopolitical trading, e-governments, governments, cities, countries. It's
the change is among us
coming
right now.
Together. It's all coming together. Government on the blockchain. And I'll tell you what, as a U.S. citizen, I could not be happier and cannot wait till some things are on the blockchain and cannot be changed. For more reasons that are completely outside of scope of this show, but I am, for one, all for it 100%. So they're going to be distributing welfare checks on the blockchain, going to be keeping track of government spending, everything. And it's all going to be public ledger.
Right. That's transparency is the name of the game. And that, that's something, again, we've got 3 eclipses coming up here. Eclipse is all about just transparency. It's shining the light on and seeing the shadows that we don't normally see. That's all about what these eclipses are. And it's like, really bring this to light. Oh my goodness, that's a possibility. We can do this. We can, it's like it's all coming right now. And our first eclipse is coming up this Thursday, or this is our 3rd eclipse of the year, the first of the summer, the second half of the year. And again, that's opposing Pluto. New moon, new beginnings, opposite Pluto in Capricorn. Cancer, again, Cancer's Main Street. Capricorn, Wall Street, right? Home, government, country. And it's like our home, we have to find that balance between heart and home and the big government, the big city, and we have to find this balance. That's where we're at right now. Finding that fulcrum, that balancing point to where it's not fighting each other. It's not like, oh, for me to survive in my home, Uncle Sam's over here doing this and pulling me in this direction and oppressing me in this way. It's just like, no. These need to come into perfect alignment, which is what this eclipse is, coming into perfect alignment, 20 degrees, 20 degrees, 20 degrees, and we're going to make the change that absolutely has to happen in our government, from self to government. And it's like, this stuff, you can't make it up. Like, it's just so, like, that's where we're at in life right now. I mean, that's why we do this show. This astrology stuff is so spot on to what's happening in the crypto world that
it's amazing. So I want to go back and touch on IOTA.
Yeah.
Now, IOTA is, they're calling it the 3rd generation blockchain, but IOTA is one of the only systems out there, theoretically, that can handle worldwide adoption at one time. Theoretically, we're good to go. Has it been tested yet? No, it's still in its early development. Now, the idea between IOTA, which sets it apart from all of the others, is that the transaction and mining, the mining is done through the transactions. You and I make a transaction. Mm-hmm. In order for us to make that transaction, the devices that we use are mining 2 other transactions to keep it as simple as possible. We're not needing big scale machines, and for every one we transact, 2 more are complete. So the larger the system gets, the faster it gets, and it's infinitely scalable.
Right.
Theoretically, like I said, it's still in its infancy.
Yeah.
But it is the only one out there that can handle this. And now we're talking about dumping $30 million in for the architecture and infrastructure to run an entire city on a blockchain. the potential that this coin has and where it's going to go is going to be extremely interesting, and another one on our microscope down the road.
Well, this is a coin that was floating around about $3. It was between $5 and $3. Then at the start of right around December, it was about $3.50, and then all of a sudden, right around Christmas time, when things started going down, IOTA went skyrocketed. And it went from, well, not skyrocketed, but I mean, it went from $3 up to $6 and change. And it was just like, for that to double up was a big deal, you know? And then just a lot of people, when it hit 6, went, boop, 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 done, I'm out. And it just dropped right back down. And now it's been floating for a few months right around $1.50 to 97 cents. And I think it's right about $1 right now. That's a good price. And it's a cool coin, man.
The interesting thing with the Internet of Things is not only people are going to be interacting with its crypto, machines are going to be interacting with this crypto also. They're going to be making the exchanges between themselves, even if it's a penny or fractions of a penny. We're talking millions of devices. So this is the whole reason the computer world went from IPv4, which is a computer address that's made up of possibly 12 digits, to IPv6, where we're talking like the IP addresses look like Bitcoin addresses.
Right.
And now we could put out 150 billion, trillion, quadrillion addresses on the internet at the same time. Now, this jump was needed for the Internet of Things.
Right.
And I know a lot of individuals that I've talked to are like, Internet of Things, yeah, they've been trying to do that for a while. It's like, it's not that far away anymore. I mean, it is within reach. We are seeing all of the train tracks being laid down for this motion.
And they stand out from the crowd.
They do.
And they solve a different problem than a lot of other coins or tokens do. And it's like, spotlights on them. I think they're cool. Love them.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
4. Siskel and Ebert, 4 thumbs up.
Love it. Love it.
Well, I think that's time.
I think it is. What do you say we end it with
True Wisdom card of the day. Let's do this one. This is the one for you today. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Rummy. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop.
That's a beautiful thing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that little bell button down at the bottom for notifications so you guys don't miss a beat. Here on
Crypto Cosm.